welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jennifer, and I've been pretty absent from my channel and life and all the good things because work got really crazy, and I got really frustrated trying to edit and post and not being able to. So anyways, you'll see here that I have my BH Cosmetics palettes. So this means we're finally at the eyeshadow palette declutter, which is so exciting to me. I love eyeshadow palette content. I love a really good, like, chill vibe to an eyeshadow palette declutter. You know, where you can just like chill and watch someone's collection and just be nosy and, you know, maybe sometimes yell at the camera like, you don't need that. But then be like, you know what? If it brings you joy, you should keep that. I think I have all of my BH palettes here. I make no promises that I won't find more later, because that has been kind of like the theme of my declutter. Few disclaimers: anything I'm getting rid of that I decide to sell, so anything that's not obviously expired and should go in the trash, will be on my Mercari or Poshmark, and I'll have them linked below. I think that's it. Like, I have a ridiculously large collection that's gotten out of hand, and my goal here is not to declutter for the sake of decluttering, but just to keep what brings joy to me. So these have to spark joy. And I can tell you right now, not all of them do. So let's just get into the declutter, because that's what we're here for, right? This is, I lied. This is Kara Beauty. We're gonna set this to the side and pretend we didn't see that. Okay. All right. This is the BH Cosmetics Drop Dead Gorgeous Little Bit Psycho palette. I used this one time for a Halloween look. It was nice. It was lovely, but I don't feel like I need it. I can pass this along to someone who will give it way more attention that it absolutely deserves. Blueberry Muffin palette. This is like so many people's favorite palette, and I do agree that a lot of these shades are beautiful. A part of me is like tempted to depot this and like really commit some, you know, makeup sins here, just keeping the shades that I love, but I feel like I have shades like this in other palettes, and so I should keep this whole for someone else to love on this the way that it deserves. Okay, let's save these for last since there's so many of them. So I'm just gonna set these off to the side for a second. We'll come back to those. Dang it, there goes my micellar water. Let me get that so it doesn't spill on the floor. I have these travel palettes. Let me see if there's any more in this stack. Oh, that's breakfast. This is all I have left. This might be all I have left. So I have Smitten in Switzerland, or just, it says Smitten in Switzerland on the back, but just Switzerland on the front. So Smitten in Switzerland, I think, is a beautiful color story, but the few times that I've used it, there's just something about it that I can't put together a cohesive look that I like. And I have other palettes that have similar tones, like the Druid palette from Fantasy Cosmetica has these beautiful like green and burgundy vibes to them. And I can put together a look much better with that palette than I can with this one. I don't know if it's the blue and orange that throw me off, or what I'm doing wrong. I'm sure it's me, but I don't feel like I need this, so I can pass that one along. Then I have the Lost in Los Angeles palette, and objectively, there are some really beautiful shades in here. Like Sunset Boulevard is one of my favorite pinks, But I just, as a whole, I don't use this palette, and I don't really feel like it's a totally unique shade. Like, I think I have one similar to it and maybe the Mimosa palette over here. So I feel like I can keep this one also intact and pass it along to someone that can love it more than me. I know I'm speaking so many like atrocities against BH Cosmetics today. Please don't cancel me. And then the Hawaii palette, this was a gift from, I think, one of my children. I think this is such a cute palette, but there are a lot of similar tones in here. Like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 different browns in here, and like 3 different like peachy orange shades. Oh, I missed a brown. 7, whatever. You get the point. There's a lot of samey. Like this could have been like a quad or a quint or something. So I don't know that this palette adds a lot to my collection. I have other neutral peachy palettes that I like better. So I'm gonna pass this one along as well. Keeping in theme with the breakfast, because you know we have the blueberry muffin palette. I also have the mimosa and the avocado toast. So the mimosa palette, I'm so ashamed. I don't think I've ever used this palette, but Pop, I'm pretty sure, is very similar to that other shade, if not the same shade that's in the Lost in Los Angeles palette. And so I like this color story better for summer, or even just to reach into here for some like pops of color for neutral looks during the summer. So I am good keeping this one. And then the avocado toast, I think this is a beautiful palette. I'm not 100% sold on keeping this one, but I'm not yet ready to let it go. Like, oh gosh, this shade, what is it? Avu Cuddle? Where do they come up with this crap? This is such a pretty like inner corner shade for me. Like, yeah, I definitely could keep this palette for a couple of these shades. Overall, I think the color story is really pretty and something I would work with. I like this like kind of murky-ish green, and I like the brown and this kind of like muted, murky, kind of peachy color. So this is more my vibe and what I like. Okay, let's do these. These are difficult for me because the Take Me Back to Brazil palette I really love, but I have other rainbow palettes and I just don't ever reach into this. So I feel like it's a complete and total waste on me. So I feel like it could be better appreciated in a new home. And then I have the Take Me Back to Brazil Rio edition, which this was a gift, like a very kind gift, from my parents' real estate agent, who I went to high school with, but it was a thank you gift for referring my parents to them and helping with some of the issues they had. And I think this is a really pretty palette. I do have a really hard time letting go of this one, but I have to be realistic with myself that if I'm going to go for a shade like one of these, I probably will reach into my indie shadows for like some flare and some bling. These are beautiful. These are beautiful, like shimmer, kind of satin finish shadows, but they're not indie level, you know? They're not duochrome, multichrome, that kind of thing. So I feel like they are functional in their own right, but just not my style for how I like to do my makeup when I do colorful looks. Then I have the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And the 80s, I don't remember if I had this for sale or if I had it in purgatory, but I felt like my collection was incomplete without it, even though I don't know that I will ever reach into this again. Like, I truly don't know, but I like some of these shades. Like, I love this Hot Hot Pink Love Shack. I love Conga and Spin Me. You can't even see all those. Good job, Jen. Yeah, I like these shades. I love this Virgin shade. You can see where I really like things. But I don't know that I have all of these in matte form. So I feel okay to keep this, especially since I was kind of like yearning to have it back in my collection. This is the 90s palette. I also tried to declutter this one and absolutely could not do it. Like, there's just something about this that when I open it, it just brings me joy. And that's my theme, is to keep things that bring me joy. So we're keeping it. This is the 2000s Dance Remix palette, and obviously I really love this one. I really love like the grungy vibes. I love using this for going to rock concerts. I typically will dip into this for something, usually Single Lady or maybe Sexy Back. I like both of those for a pretty grungy look. You know, they're nothing crazy, but they're fun, and I like fun. So I'm going to keep these. And then we have the Lit List. This is Miss Claus. And this palette was lovingly gifted from by Andy at Andy Does Stuff. She surprised me with this. I love this palette. I kept this on my vanity for at least a month, and I dipped into this palette so much. I found myself using this black to deepen up outer corners, using this shade. I really like it. I love these two shades. Like, there's so much goodness in this palette. And also, like, the Christmas vibes are on point, but it's good for more than just Christmas. So, love this. Love the sentiment behind it. Thank you, Andy. She's one of the few people that puts up with my crap, my disappearing acts, and poor mental health, and still doesn't hate me. So I love that. All right. Oh, and then the Sweet Shop palettes. Okay, so these Sweet Shop palettes, my husband went on like a hunt for me to get these palettes. He managed to score some at TJ Maxx, but the bulk of them he got on Mercari. And so you can see that each palette lines up with the other to make like this giant stacked ice cream cone. You can't really see the other one, but yeah, the cherry on top meets up with the orange sorbet. So I love these. I honestly don't do a lot of monochromatic looks. Outside of this is like a wonderful work palette for me. So I love the sugar cone. That is definitely, I think, my favorite. I think this is one of the hardest ones to find, or at least it was. That and bubblegum was really hard for him to find. And when he finally found it, it ended up coming broken. But Mercari made it right. It was not too bad. And then we were able to get another one. Did my light just die? No, I'm blind. Okay. So this one's the bubblegum palette, and you can see that I don't use blues too much, but these are some beautiful, vibrant blues. So a lot of times I'll pick out 2 palettes to pair, or 3 palettes to pair together, and like dip into each of them. Like, this is usually what I use when I'm feeling a little more creative and I want something colorful. So this one's the pistachio, and this one I do find really difficult to put together a look because of the mix of warm and cool greens in here. But like, this Sweet Life shade is so beautiful, and I absolutely freaking love it. Like, come on. Yes, yes. Get on my eyes. Then we have the Cotton Candy. And the Cotton Candy is a mix of like pink and purple. This one I find easy to do a look with by itself. The only thing is there's not like a true deepening shade for like the outer corner. Sometimes I'll like lay this down and then mix this in so it muddies it a little bit and deepens it a little bit. But also sometimes I'll pull in another palette for another deepening shade. Usually one of these. And then I have the Orange Sorbet, which I've barely touched. Like, it is a shame that I have hardly used these. I saw Lauren May Beauty, like, deconstructed hers and put all of hers in her singles collection. And I wish I could commit to that, but I can't because the packaging is so freaking cute. So this one's the cherry on top. I think it's so cute. So my goal over like the next year is to pull in 1 or 2 of these into each rotation that I do. Like maybe I'll pull in the orange during summer and maybe the cotton candy during spring. Not necessarily to do a look with the palette by itself, but maybe like to dip into it in conjunction with other palettes. Wow, I am really shaking the table. I'm sorry, guys. Hopefully none of you get too seasick. All right, so this is 6, 7, 10, 12. So out of this pile, I am keeping 12. And I am decluttering 7. So not half, but I'm honestly not trying to get to half because that would be impossible for me. Just more manageable and less stressful would be preferred. So let me go get the next group of palettes. Probably a brand, but I make no promises. And we're definitely not going in alphabetical order because I am not that organized right now. All right, let's do Urban Decay. So I have 4. Oh, nope, I have 2 more. Just kidding. All right, so I have 6 Urban Decay palettes. I have 3 full size and 3 small ones. So first we have the Naked Robin Eisenberg. This was like an impulse purchase because I found it at TJ Maxx. I've swatched it. I've never used it. I've opened it several times and been like, I am uninspired and I don't know what to do with this. So I'm going to declutter it. Even though the packaging, like, it really gets me. I'm not really into like these, I don't even know what style that is. The like cartoon chicks, like that's not anything that like I'm obsessed about or anything, but just the glitter and the packaging, like there's something about an Urban Decay Naked palette that these are so pretty. So yeah, anyways, all that to say, bye. Then I have the Wild Greens, which admittedly, this was a very controversial palette because a lot of people felt like there was no pigment, it wasn't very green, and yes, I agree on both of those. However, on my pale skin, this makes a beautiful look. Every time I use this, I get really beautiful looks. So I snagged it 50% off and I'm going to use it because I like it. But I'm not shocked that it got discontinued and put on sale so fast because what the hell, guys. Then I have the Naked Metal Mania, and this one I'm actually really excited to dig into in the winter time or like when I go to a concert. Like, yes, please, this silver, this like shimmery brown, like those just are grabbing my attention. So this I'm definitely going to keep. I got this one at TJ Maxx. You guys will see a theme here, like TJ Maxx, TJ Maxx, TJ Maxx, and super clearance at Ulta. Yeah. So I have the Naked Wild West. The big Wild West has always like had a pull on me where I want to buy it. I think I've used this one maybe once, but I can't bring myself to get rid of it. And I feel like if I get rid of it, then I'm going to go out and buy the full-size Wild West, which I certainly do not need. So I feel like if I keep this little friend, that will satisfy the itch that I have for the big one. And then I got these two because they were like super cheap at Ulta. And like, not gonna lie, the packaging is so cute. And I really want to keep these because they're so cute, but I have to be realistic. This one's the Mucho Happy smiley one. And this one is like neutral with a pop of blue. And it's so cute, but realistically, I'm not really going to use this one. I've done a look with it. It was cute, but I don't need it. And then this one is the, what are you? This one's the more colorful one. This is Chill Happy. I like this one a little bit better, at least for packaging. And I think it's so cute. Like, I'm drawn to it and I want to keep it, but I need to be practical. And this would be much better served in someone else's stash. So we're actually going to manage to do half and half for Urban Decay, keep 3, declutter 3. And I think that is probably a miracle at this point. I told you I make no promises that I have found everything. So I found another stash of palettes that I forgot I had put them in the organizer I usually keep on my desk in my office to get them out of the way. So this is a Urban Decay Moon Dust palette. This one is the Space Rider version. These were limited edition for holiday last year. And this has Star Cowgirl, Space Cowboy, Wild Dipper Rides Again, and Cosmic Space Dust. So I don't have Space Cowboy anywhere. So I was happy to get it here, but Star Cowgirl is like my absolute favorite in this palette. I think this one should be a single. It's a beautiful like white base with pink reflect in it. I love it for inner corner highlights. If I ever have a look that like needs just a little extra something in the inner corner and I don't know what to do, I usually add Star Cowgirl and it just amplifies it, and I love it. Cosmic Space Dust reminds me a bit of what I kind of want lithium to be, but I want this to be more gray. Like, that's what I want for all of them. They all kind of pull a little more brown than I expect, but yeah, I would love if they had a truly gray one of these Moon Dust shadows, because I think it's Diamond Dog is a little bit more on the gray side, but not much. Diamond Dog and Lithium are almost identical, swatched out. So yeah, for sure keeping this. I love this. And then I found a BH Cosmetics palette. So this one is the Lunar New Year 2022 edit. And this doesn't look like much, okay? Like, it really does not look like it would be a cohesive color story, but when I tell you, every time I dip into this, like, it challenges me in a way that I start to feel really creative, and I always love the look that I come up with from this palette. You can see I love this shade, this shade, this shade a lot. I love this shade right here. Like, this is a beautiful orangey, like, yellow flip to it. I don't think I have anything else really like that in my collection in any other palette. Like, maybe I do, but that one I feel like is pretty unique in this palette. You can tell I like Lunar. I love Jade Dragon. Like, I use this for a Christmas look. I've used this for like a summer sunset eye. So I've used this year round and I really love it. So this is going to be used until it like falls apart or starts rotting, I guess. So add that extra one to my BH Cosmetics total. God, I'm such a clown. All right, ABH, a somewhat controversial brand for some people. I have not gone out of my way to purchase any ABH palettes with the exception of Riviera I got at TJ Maxx a while ago. I have used it a couple of times. I think it's a really fun palette. I love that shade Bahamas, but I have it in the Mimosa palette and probably my Barbie palette. So I don't need to keep this palette just for that, but I do find this a little bit challenging for me to put together a cohesive look. Like I've made some cute looks, but it was not without challenge. And so I just don't feel like I'm missing anything if I pass this one along. Now, you see I have two Soft Glam 2s. This one came with a shattered shade, so we're definitely getting rid of that. This other Soft Glam 2 that they sent, the replacement, I have thought about decluttering this, but like this is a color story I love. I love a sultry kind of smoky eye. This shade Sultry literally is like, it's so pretty. Like that creamy, rich brown with kind of like a reddish pink undertone to it. Almost like a mulberry shade, and then the shade Mulberry. And then this shade Dreamer, I think was from the Norvina palette, which I don't have, and I think it's a beautiful shade. So I haven't been able to bring myself to get rid of this, even though I haven't used it yet. And this Soft Touch, this velvety cover drives me crazy because they get so freaking dirty, but I can't get rid of it. I'm such a clown. So yeah, I got that one in BoxyCharm, got that one in BoxyCharm. This one I also got in BoxyCharm. This is the Modern Renaissance. And again, this is like the type of color story I crave. And it's a lovely palette. I think it's really nice quality as far as the shadows go, at least. So I think I want to keep it. I don't think I'm at least ready to let it go. I've had it for a couple of months, but I'm going to see if I use it. It's kind of more of like a fall palette to me, fall winter-ish. So I haven't really used it because I got it more like spring, summer. And then I have the Primrose palette, and this is, again, a beautiful palette, and I love the color story. Like, some of these shades in here are so beautiful. You have Rosewater and Peony, Sparkling Amber. I'm sure these swatches are going to be trash, but yeah. Sparkling Amber, Peony, and then what I say this was, Rosewater, maybe? Yeah, they're so beautiful. And the mattes are beautiful in this palette too. Now it comes with a blush, and I don't know if that's supposed to be a blush or bronzer or like who that's supposed to suit, but I use this as the blush, but I often will use these as like eye shades. I mainly ignore the shade Saddle. I don't think that this was a great idea, putting cheek colors in here, at least the colors that they chose. And they only had one version of this, so they didn't have like a light, medium, dark type deal. So I'm not really sure what they were thinking, because like, I don't know who those two shades suit on the cheeks, because this is so light and this is so dark and orange. However, I'm okay not getting a brush. Like, I like this thinner, more edited color story. I just think that it could have been either a shorter palette, or they could have made these like 4 eye shades and just kind of kept that going. But keeping this, it was a lovely, thoughtful gift from my husband. I don't even think I had it on my wish list. I didn't even know this palette existed. He went into Sephora, they looked around, and they thought this looked like a palette I would really like, and dang, they were right. So definitely keeping that. So I'm keeping 3 and decluttering 2. All right, let's do Nomad Cosmetics next. So I have a couple. I don't have as many as some, but yeah, I have a few. So I have the Cartagena Magica or Magica. Please don't judge me. My English is bad enough some days. Like, the brain fog is awful. So I love this palette. I don't know that I need this palette. I have actually toyed with deconstructing it and keeping the shimmers that I really like and maybe one or two of the mattes that I love. But I don't know, man. The packaging is cute. The little imprints are cute. Like, I don't know if I'm there yet, but I might be. And if I am, I will film it because I already deconstructed one palette and didn't film it. I'm fairly certain I'll have to play music over it because there was some cussing. And then I have the Paradise Islands palette. Like, I love this brand so much. But all of the themes are based on places that they have traveled to, or like a point in time, in some instances. And so I just feel like the color stories are always so well thought out. The packaging, even the inside of the boxes, guys, have like patterns that correlate to the palette and the theme. So this one is the Paradise Islands, and this is another one where I don't always use this as a standalone palette, but it is so beautiful, and I don't know if I will ever deconstruct or get rid of this. My husband loves turtles, and so I always think of him when I use this palette. He is my best friend, and I love him so, so much. And I just love being reminded of him sometimes, especially when he's gone, which he has to travel sometimes for the military, which it should be about done. We should be about done with that. So anyways, distractions. The Berlin Underground, this was the very first Nomad palette I ever got. I got it in a BoxyCharm like eons ago, but I used this like 2 weeks ago and it was phenomenal. This is probably one of my most favorite satin shades ever. It's like this white base, but like with a greenish undertone to it. It's so fun. I love using it as an inner corner highlight. Now, I will say this palette does not have very many mattes. I think it only has maybe like 2 true mattes or maybe just 1. This one is like a sequined matte, and then there are a lot of satins. But their satins perform in a way that you can use them like a matte. They blend nicely. You're not going to get a look out of this that is like, bam, bling, like seen from space, like you do with a lot of other indie palettes. But the theming on this was still like spot on. The first time I ever opened this and I saw all the little like skull imprints on here, I was like in love. And honestly, this is probably one of the first like not drugstore palettes I ever received or purchased. Because like I bought the BoxyCharm, right? But yeah, this one holds a special place for me. I probably will keep it for display. It's not going anywhere. And then I have the America's Parks, and this one gives me like all the warm and fuzzy fall vibes, and like I feel like they really stepped it up with their shimmers in this palette compared to what they were doing with like the Berlin Underground. This is this one's discontinued. I think that Paradise Islands is discontinued. Like, I think all of these might be discontinued now. But I can tell you that you can definitely get them on Mercari or Poshmark in pretty good condition or brand new from some people. Yeah, so I like using this one more in the fall time. You do not have to do your makeup by season. I just find myself drawn to certain colors during certain seasons. And sometimes I break my own, like, you know, rules. I don't really have rules, but I break my own stride, you know, and do my own thing. Okay, so this is what's left of the Tokyo palette. I did actually depot this one, and these are the shades that I kept. I like the shimmers and these satins and mattes. I don't necessarily feel like I need, but like they're so cute and so pretty. I can't get rid of them. However, these I felt like I definitely did not need. This gray was probably the most disappointing shade in the whole palette. These are very, very light. Like this is a true pastel palette. But there was like a row of mattes, a row of satins, and then a row of shimmers with sparkles. So I'm going to declutter this one. And then these are the newest to my collection. This is the Nomad Air, the Oslo. I have not used this one yet. I did see, I think Angelica Nyquist did not like this one very much, but I thought the color story in person was super cute, and I could definitely see myself using this as like an everyday travel palette. Yeah, I think it's adorable. I could even see myself using it not just for travel, but, you know, for other things. So this one has the Flavor Saver in it. They moved from plastic to a more sustainable, you know, like shadow cover. I call them Flavor Savers because I heard somebody else call it that when I first got into makeup, and I thought it was great and exactly how I would describe it. So yeah, I like that they moved to some more sustainable packaging. I really appreciate that about the brand. They're cognizant of the environment the best they can be, you know, given that they are a makeup brand. And their palettes, like this Paradise Islands one, a portion of the proceeds went to a turtle conservatory, I believe. I'll probably correct myself once I go and look it up. And then finally, I have the Ghost Town USA, which was initially released last year. And I had to be realistic with myself and stay on a better budget. And so I didn't purchase this one. But when they said they were re-releasing it this year, I knew I immediately wanted to go get it as soon as it re-released. I set a timer. I was ready. Like, I checked out so fast. This one is a beautiful palette. I feel like they've come so far with their matte and their shimmer formula. I know there are still people out there that don't really like Nomad. They don't really enjoy how the shadows perform, but I love them. Also, like, beyond loving their product and how they operate, the owners are so sweet on Instagram. Like, I just absolutely love interacting with them, and I truly enjoy the brand as a whole. And you'll see, like, they release about a palette a season. So that's what, like 4 palettes per year. Sometimes they do more. So like this year they released Ghost Town and Haunted Europe. I always wanted Haunted Europe, but when I really looked at the color story and how I do my makeup, I decided that it definitely was something I could skip and just be satisfied having Ghost Town. Anyways, we're keeping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm keeping 7-ish and decluttering like a quarter of a palette. So we're not even gonna count that. All right, let's do Blend Bunny Cosmetics. So I had All Done Up and Lure in my like purgatory box where like I put things that I think I can declutter. It's actually this box over here where I put things that like I think I can declutter, but like if I find myself thinking about them too much or wanting save it, you know, like not being able to get it out of my head that like I really want it. In those cases, I will take it back out. So that's what I did with these two. I had them in purgatory. I kept feeling like, oh no, like, should I really declutter those? And because I was so indecisive, I decided, no, I shouldn't. Because what'll happen is I'll regret it and then I'll go repurchase it. And that does nothing to this process. That does not help. That actually sets me back. So I have the All Done Up palette, and I do think this is a beautiful palette. I like that you can go down each row. You can mix and match, of course, but I feel like the green and like these two rows are probably my favorite. I really don't use this one very much. And I honestly don't use this one that much, even though I love a black smoky eye. I typically use this for work more, and so I tend to lean into these like neutrally shades more. I do not have any requirements at work that I can't have colorful makeup or anything like that, but I do work in a very large corporation, and I feel like there is a little bit of etiquette, you know, like I probably shouldn't have gotten this giant tattoo on my arm, but it is what it is. And I like it, so it's here. I can always wear a sweater if somebody has a problem with it, but we don't have like a dress code that says that you can't have tattoos or anything. Or if we do, no one showed it to me, so oops. So then I have the Lure palette, which I think this is a beautiful palette. And again, like something about the way these are arranged in, you know, this, I forget what it's called, where it goes in the same color. Shoot, somebody help me with the word. Why can't you guys talk back to me? Oh, so I really like that how these rows are organized. I honestly mainly currently only use it for this row. I just don't do super colorful looks anymore. Not that there's anything wrong with them. I don't do them very frequently. I mainly do them on the weekends, and lately I haven't been doing my makeup on the weekends because I've not been well. So I'm still gonna keep those two, and I will never get rid of these until they like fall apart. So this one is the Surge palette, which currently you cannot get because they were not able to get these pigments, these neon pigments, or they couldn't get them for a price that would be appropriate to be able to sell the palettes. So I don't know if they are working on getting maybe an alternate neon pigment to re-release this because it's such a favorite, but I love this palette. I don't, again, do a ton of colorful looks, but when I do, I like having these like fun, bright, inspiring colors along with like these just gorgeous murky shades. So yeah. And then I have the Sugar and Grunge. So speaking of grunge, which by the way, the Surge palette does not have a mirror. The Lure palette does not have a mirror, and the All Done Up palette does have a mirror. And then the Sugar and Grunge palette does have a mirror. Now this one was also discontinued because someone gave her a cease and desist over the word grunge, and it was like another cosmetics company, a small one. Like it looked like another small indie brand, and they did not look like they had their crap together, but whatever. She didn't want to spend the money to fight it, and I don't blame her. But this is like a killer palette. Like I am so happy I was able to get this one because it was on my wish list for so long. So yeah, this one's not going anywhere for sure. All right, yeah, so keeping 4. All right, I have 3 Sigma Beauty palettes. Admittedly, their formula is maybe not my like tip-top favorite, but I feel like they do palettes well. Like I feel like they put together the theming well. Like this Rosa palette, the cover on it is beautiful. Even these flavor savers are beautiful, and like the color stories I feel like are perfectly curated. At least the ones that I've been attracted to. And I've made some really beautiful looks with this. I need to use it more. It's definitely more of like a fall palette for me. So it was actually pulled out to sit in my office for a fall palette. But I'm definitely keeping all three because these are three that I truly, truly love. I have previously decluttered other palettes, like I decluttered the Enchanted mini or travel palette that they had. I thought that one was absolute trash. There was not a single shade in that that I liked. I think my daughter might have it. So I don't even think I sold it. I think I just handed it straight to her and was like, here, I think you'll like this. And then I have the new Mod, and this palette is probably my most favorite from the brand. I definitely like how this one performs. I think the mattes are lovely. They blend beautifully. They don't get muddy. The shimmers I think are beautiful. Some of them are more subtle. So like Haute here is like a more subtle kind of satin type shimmer. And then you have some that are a little more blingy, like avant-garde and flashy. So avant-garde here has some sparkle in it. It's more of a topper shade. It doesn't have a lot of base pigment. And then you have flashy that's a bit more base. I like putting this one over this one. I think it's really pretty. So yes, this one I will say is like one of those velvet, crushed velvet feelings. And I don't like that because they do tend to get more dirty. Somehow mine has escaped massive dirtiness, but it's definitely not as used as it should be for how much I love it. But that's another problem for another day. And then I have the Cinderella palette from Sigma. And again, like these are just so beautiful. I regret getting rid of the one from the new Mod, but that's okay. And then this color story is a little bit more on the colorful side, but like still kind of subdued. Again, you have like a more satiny shimmer formula here, and then you have more sparkles in these. So I like the mixture of textures. I love the mattes in this one. And I just, all together, I think these are three really nice palettes from the brand. Like I said, I didn't like the Enchanted mini. I've always wanted the big Enchanted, but I'm afraid to go for it because I feel like if I didn't like the mini, I'm probably not going to like the big one. But in any case, I don't need more palettes, so this is sufficient for me. Do you want out, Polly? I missed a Blend Benny palette. This is the Noctilucent highlighter palette, but I store it with my eyeshadow palettes because I really use it more as toppers. But it has just some really pretty, like this one's a yellow flip, a green flip, a blue, pink, purple, and this one's like straight up pink. So I really enjoy using these as like toppers or inner corner shades. Sometimes I use them as a highlight just for fun, but I honestly, for a crazy highlight like this, I kind of like my Kaleidos ones better. But it's a beautiful palette. I like the holographic Noctilucent and their brand here. I like that it's like floating in clouds. So I feel like everything they do with their packaging is so fun and thought out. So love this one. Definitely keeping that. Okay, I felt like we should do some onesie twosies because this is where a lot of my decluttering is probably going to come from. Because a lot of these were sitting in my purgatory for me to think about, like, can I live without these palettes or do I constantly think about them? So let's start with this one. This is the Shutter Speed and Cinephile eyeshadow duo from Bell & Argent. I'm sure I'm saying that completely wrong, but it is so cute. I got it in like a mystery bag, I think, from Ipsy because I'm a clown, but I really wanted the back. And I was like, you know, whatever's in it, I can pass on or whatever. So I am definitely going to pass this one on. I don't use duos. I am way more needy than that with my eyeshadow. And then I have this Dia Noche palette from JCat. This is the Once Upon a Time version or color story. And I feel like JCat shadows are actually really good for drugstore. Like some of these shimmers are so pretty and so nice, but considering I don't do a lot of super colorful looks anymore, and this is all pink and purple, I feel like I could probably pass this on to someone else that will use this more than I have been. And then I have this Cara Beauty Amore palette, which I think it's so cute, but it's just not a color story that really inspires me. It's a very beautiful fall palette, but I just don't look really good in that warm of a tone and those shades. I struggle to make them work. I have the e.l.f. Bite Size palette. This one is the Hot Jalapeno. I actually think this is probably the best Bite Size palette that e.l.f. has. These are what, like $3, I think, for 4 eyeshadows. Yeah, I don't feel like I need this. I was keeping it in case I want to do like a full face of drugstore, a full face of e.l.f. and I don't need it. I can pass it along to someone that will love it more than me. And then I have this LA Girl one. This is the Keep It Playful eye palette. Yeah, it's just Keep It Playful. No, this is in Downplay. Yeah, the collection is Keep It Playful and the shade of this one is Downplay. I love this palette. I don't reach into it much, but I do want to keep it at least for channel purposes. For when I do want to do like a full face of drugstore, because I think this is a good quality palette for drugstore. Not even just for drugstore, it's a pretty good quality palette. I'm drawn to the color story and I feel joy. I think the packaging is actually not bad for drugstore. It's a little bit more sturdy than some other eyeshadow palettes I've seen. So I'm gonna keep this one. Let's see, I have Ace Beauté, Alamar. I feel like I have another Ace Beauté or Alamar in here. Let's get these together. Ace Beauté. Okay, those are Laura Geller. Ugh. All right, so I have the Ace Beauté Vintage Dawn. I got this in a BoxyCharm, and I don't think I've ever really used this. I think my daughter used it once, my oldest one, because she really loves blue eyeshadow, or she used to. I think it's a lovely color story, but not something that I would miss if I passed it on to someone else. And then I have the Ace Beauté Violet Sage, and I wanted this so bad, and it was like an Ipsy exclusive or BoxyCharm exclusive, whatever. And I initially bought it, and then they refunded me because they said they were sold out. But for some reason, I don't ever reach into this. And so I feel like this is on the chopping block. Like I put it in purgatory, but I still kind of thought about it. And so I feel like I need to put it on the chopping block and use it 1 or 2 more times before I decide if I'm ready to say goodbye or if I want to hold on to it. I have the Alamar Cosmetics Destino palette, and this is so cute, but it's something that I feel like I could easily pass along, and I don't think I would think about it again. It has some really nice neutrals. I can't even get the flavor saver out. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the glare. It has some beautiful neutrals in it. Like, they're shades I would love, but every time I opened this to use it, I didn't feel super inspired and I wanted to use something else. So I think that's my sign that I should probably pass it along. And while it was in purgatory, I honestly did not think of it that much. And I have the Pure Festival 2.0. I literally forgot that I had this. I think I'm okay to pass this along. I really like that shade, but I feel like I have it in other palettes, so I'll be okay. I think that's one of the only shades I've swatched. There's one other shade I swatched, but yeah, I can pass that along. It smells great. Like, it smells like I just purchased it, but I've had it for a minute. I have this Ciate London, the Velvet palette. Man, BoxyCharm really wanted me to have this. I got sent this thing 2 times. First time, tried it, didn't love it, passed it on to my daughter. It's her favorite palette. Second time, tried it, didn't love it, and we're gonna pass it along. They're just not my vibe. I have the Sugar Drizzle Hypernova palette. This is an indie brand, and I definitely wanted to try something from Sugar Drizzle, but admittedly, these were not their best formula. So this was like at a discount that my husband bought it, but I just don't like this color story that much, so I'm gonna pass it along. And y'all, he does not get his feelings hurt at all if I pass something along. So there's that. I have this Lorac Pro palette, the Soleil. I freaking love this palette. I love the shimmers, like, holy crap. They are so fun. I don't know. I love this palette. It brings me joy, so I'm keeping it. Beep, beep. I have this Violet Voss Berries and Cream Dreams, and I keep trying to declutter this one. I got it for like, I don't know, $3 or $4 on Ipsy, and I can't bring myself to declutter it because it just inspires me. And I feel like I would lean into this more in like the fall and winter time. Like, that is a beautiful shade. Yeah, no, I can't get rid of it. Please don't hate me. You can judge me, but please don't hate me. Not for what I'm keeping anyways. I have this Wonder Beauty palette. This one is the Trailblazer. And I honestly hated every single Wonder Beauty palette I have tried except for this one. I think this is beautiful. I love the color story. I like how the shimmers perform in this, and I'm gonna keep it because I love it. All right, I have two Laura Geller palettes. I had no business buying any eyeshadow palettes at TJ Maxx, but yet I did. This one is the Delectables, and they are baked shadows, and I still have not tried this, but I really want to, so I'm gonna keep it. And then I have the Laura's Essentials. This is 6 eyeshadows and 2 highlighters. I think one of the highlighters came busted, and I just was not, yeah, this just, I don't feel like this is worth me repressing. Like, there's nothing in this color story that is like, I have to have it. It's pretty. It's a lovely, neutral, everyday color story, but I'm fine to move that on. I forgot, I have another Laura Geller palette in Purgatory. This one is the Seasonless Staples Wildflower Wishes. This one came in BoxyCharm. I think it's so cute. Like, this is perfect for fall, but I have other fall palettes that inspire me more. I don't feel like the shimmers or anything super, super special. They look lovely. Like, they look like they were probably very nice, like satin finish shimmers. The mattes look nice. The tones look cute, but I don't think I would miss this if I passed it along to someone. Y'all see why I canceled my BoxyCharm subscription? Yeah, it was a problem. Then I have this Iconic London Booming and Gleaming eyeshadow palette. This one was actually in Purgatory for a while, and I rescued it because I couldn't stop thinking about it. I really like this. I used it the other day and it had such a beautiful, like, neutral, sexy, sultry look out of it. So yeah, keeping that. All right, let me count these real quick and then I'll get another batch of palettes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, I am keeping 7 and I am decluttering 11. My bad. I'll take it. Look, the e.l.f. palette is like, no, I need to stay. Don't unlove me. All right, I have another grouping of kind of like onesie twosies where I have only 1 or 2 palettes from each brand. This one's the Give Beauty I See in Color Just a Girl palette. Found this at TJ Maxx for like $4, and I'm just a sucker And I thought it was a really cute, like, neutral color story, and I wanted to try the formula, so we'll keep that. Then I have the NARS Climax palette, and I freaking love this one. This is definitely all the fall vibes for me, and yes, I love it. I have 2 from Busy Art. 1 from Busy. Where's my other one? Haha. Hiding. There we go. All right, so I have 2 from Busy Art. I have the Petite Pro Troy shit. My French is awful. All right, so I have this one. This palette from Busy Art. And my little gold shade came a little busted, but I like shoved it back in, and I keep these because if I ever want to take it traveling, it'll travel better. I like that these shades pop out so you can like customize your palettes. But I only have 2 Busy Art ones. I don't find that their shimmers are like super impressive. Their mattes are definitely where they shine, but for more mature eyelids, I do think that they're very pretty shimmers, at least in these palettes. This one is definitely more like peachy, mulberry, purple vibe, and I think it's really cute. I do think these shades are very samey, so I could see myself popping some out and switching around in these palettes, but I'm lazy, so it hasn't happened. This is the only MAC palette I have. This is the Connecting Color Embedded in Burgundy. And this is one of my favorite neutral palettes. Like, it is nothing special. It is so basic, but I love it because I feel like it's one that I could just count on. Like, I just know how it performs. And then I have the Smashbox Cover Shot Punked Eye Palette. And again, I think this is cute. It makes a lovely smoky eye and brings me joy, so we're keeping it. This is the Queen palette from Eloise. This one can definitely go. This is one of my first BoxyCharm palettes, and I'm not attached to it, so farewell, the Queen. All right, Juvia's the Nubian Royal. This one, the glitter always gets me and makes me want to keep this. But I don't freaking need it, and I don't use it literally ever. So I'm going to finally, once and for all, declutter that. This Blink palette, this is the Rare Gem eyeshadow palette, actually came in the mail today because I forgot I ordered it because I have problems. So this one is the Rare Gem, and I thought it would be a little more swanky than what it is. I haven't even swatched it. I was kind of on the fence if I wanted to or not. But honestly, I think it's a pretty like basic B like neutral palette. Like, these look like they'd probably be pretty satin shimmers for mature eyelids. Some nice like corporate work appropriate looks, and I got a steal of a deal on it. They shipped it without any extra bubble wrap and in like just a bubble mailer. I am absolutely shocked that this made it to my house in one piece. I'll be honest. I don't know how they did it, but hooray. And then I have the Ciate London Brazilian Glow eyeshadow palette. I love this palette. I love these like berry tones. I obviously love the shade Golden Glow. I've used it quite a bit. It's a beautiful inner corner, but it's also a pretty topper. So definitely keeping that one. Keeping 8 in this grouping and decluttering 2. I'm gonna go take a break and charge my phone before it dies in the middle of. So as predicted, my camera did cut me off, so sorry if the angle changed a little bit, but here we have the What's Up Beauty palettes. I have the Desert Monsoon and the Geodes, which I did switch mine around a little bit. These are all magnetic. Hey, the palettes are... Anyways, these are all magnetic, so you can pull the shades out and change them around. I am an idiot though, because I didn't mark the backs of them, so I'm gonna have to look at the pictures to see like where the shades actually go. But I love these palettes. I love their shimmer formula. I like their matte formula. This one is the Dragon Eye palette. Yeah. And just so you know, these are all made in Italy, assembled in the USA, which Italy has like some of the best eyeshadow formulas, at least for my experience. So this Dragon Eye palette, I think, is absolutely gorgeous. I feel like the camera does not do these shimmers justice. Like, I don't even know if like some lower light would help, but I can't really adjust that light right now. Yeah, I don't think the camera can do these justice to how beautiful and sparkly they are in person. The only like issue I have with this palette is this packaging is absolutely freaking gorgeous. Like, but when I saw the reveal of the color story, you know, I was expecting like maybe one of these deep like purple duochromes, maybe like a rich green matte, and it's just not, it's not here. So there is a green and there is like this deep purple, but it's just not quite what I was expecting. Now, this was a gift and I did ask for it. So even after seeing the color story, I still wanted it. But that's like my one and only like gripe with this palette is I feel like this was so beautifully done and well thought out that I would like to have seen a little bit more of that on the inside. I can't. I have to swatch a few of these shades because they're so freaking pretty. Hi, Archie. Like, they're so gorgeous. So, yeah, these aren't going anywhere. Palettes that are magnetic, especially amongst like their own brand, they kind of like, they go up in like value to me, because it gives me more options with color stories. So I tend to value those a little bit higher and I'm more likely to keep them. So these are definite keeps. Okay, I think these are all of my Glamlite palettes. Again, I make no promises. I reserve the right to find more later because I'm a mess right now, which is why we're doing this, so I can be less of a mess. All right, so let's start with like a very obvious declutter for me is this unopened Cookies and Cream palette. I got this in a mystery box and I had already purchased the same palette. So it is this one, and this one is a beautiful palette. Like the shimmers are dang. The mattes I think are pretty good. I wouldn't say they're like the best mattes, but I would say they're better mattes than some of their other palettes. So this one is a definite keep. The Frosted Flakes palette was also in the mystery box. I learned a very important lesson about myself that I don't really love mystery boxes. I don't know why I did it. So this palette, these blues I think are freaking crazy gorgeous. And I am tempted to deconstruct this palette and put these blues in my singles, but I don't need them, and I feel like this would get better use if I pass this in its entirety along to someone else. Just know I'm quite tempted and a little hesitant. Then I have these two from like their drink collection. I have the margarita and the chocolate martini. I always desperately wanted the, was it the dirty martini? The green one. I'm pretty sure it was dirty martini, but I missed out. I was waiting for it to like go on sale, and then it was just like discontinued. And I never found it at TJ Maxx like I did some other palettes. So this one is the margarita. I think this is a really fun summer color story. Even though I don't do super colorful looks a lot anymore, I do think this one is worth hanging on to. Also, some of these shimmers are just like freaking insane, and I can't let go of them. I just cannot. And then the chocolate martini is a gorgeous, like, warm, neutral palette. I really love some of these shimmer shades, are gorgeous. Like, they're not as sparkly as the What's Up Beauty ones, but they do have some sparkle to them, at least the two that I just swatched. So they're really pretty, and yeah, I like this one. This brand, it really gets me on some nostalgia. So I have a hard time decluttering it. Just like the cookies and cream palette, they also had the milk chocolate, and I have not used this one yet. Honestly, it competes a little bit with the chocolate martini. Just very neutral, but also shimmery color stories. This one's just a lot warmer, and this one is a bit on like the cooler side with some of the mattes. So I think I'll probably reach for this more in the winter time. Let's get this pie out of the way. So this is the pie palette. It actually came in a little box that looked like a pie box. This is back when Glamlite did super cute, like food inspired palettes. This is kind of what really made them popular. That and their formula is pretty freaking amazing. I'm pretty sure it's like private label of some sort, but I don't care. Their concepts are really cute, well thought out. The IPs that they do them right. They pay for them. They get approval for everything. I really enjoy like how thought out their collections and everything are. So I've tried to declutter this palette a few times. I literally have never used it, but I just can't let it go. At some point, if I don't use it by the end of the year, I will probably deconstruct this, put the shimmers in my singles collection, put the blush in my singles palette for cheek stuff, and maybe declutter the four mattes that they're pretty, but I probably don't need because I just don't build palettes like that. Okay, so let's get the Ice Cream Dream palette out of the way. This one, yeah, Ice Cream Dream. I second guess myself a lot. The cover on this one honestly gets me with the fun sprinkles. I love sprinkles. And I used to go and get ice cream at this like place that I can't remember the name of it now, but I used to go with my family and sometimes my grandma that passed away. And so I just have fond memories of like going to the ice cream parlor to get ice cream. It was like an old-fashioned parlor style. And they had like this like clown ice cream cone, which was both terrifying and delicious. And I loved it because on like the tip of the cone that was like the clown's hat, it had a gumball, and like my mom couldn't tell me that I couldn't have the gumball because it was in my freaking ice cream. So I got to chew gum like a big girl after we got ice cream. Anyways, that's not what you're here for. Here is the palette, and I do not give this one the love that it deserves. I think it's a common theme here. But yeah, it's a little bit similar to the Pie palette, but not quite. But I decluttered my Lost in Los Angeles palette, which is one of my only other true like pastel palettes. And I deconstructed the Nomad Tokyo palette. So I feel like I'm okay to keep this one, even though I don't do a ton of colorful looks. When I do, I'm going to want this bad boy around because it has a pretty good selection of bright and pastel shades and some amazing shimmers. Also, no matter what, this cover brings me joy, and I probably will always keep this at least as a display piece. I also still have the ice cream truck that, the ice cream truck box that this came in because it was too cute. I couldn't get rid of it. All right, let's get these bad boys out of the way. These are a pain in the butt to store. Like, not even gonna lie, but I have one drawer that's dedicated to Glamlite. So all of my stuff fits in there. And as long as all of my Glamlite stuff fits in that one drawer, I feel like I'm fine to keep what I have. So I have the Milk Chocolate with Almonds palette. And this one is another warm tone brown. And I truly do not need this color story, but I also really struggle to give it up. I need to be a little bit more realistic with myself though. Like, between the two, what am I going to be drawn to? And between these two, what am I going to be drawn to? And I feel like it's not this one. So even though I've never used it, I don't even think I've swatched it. I think I'm gonna pass this one along, which I wasn't planning on doing, but I need to get my crap together. And then we have the Milk Chocolate palette. And this one I have used, and this one I think also competes with the Hershey's Milk Chocolate palette. I feel like there are a lot of really similar shades in these two. This one gives me more shades to work with, but this one's so cute. Let me think about that. And then I have the Special Dark palette, and this one is like an amazing purple dream. Every look I've done with this, my husband has absolutely loved, so I'm gonna keep it. Also, I had fun picking these out at TJ Maxx with him, so that's a fun memory. I think that's a little bit why I'm hesitant to get rid of these, which is so stupid because he literally does not care. But I think I can still have that memory and enjoy the Hershey Kiss palette if I keep the purple one I love and get rid of the other two that are competing with other palettes I probably like more and would feel less guilty about neglecting these. So I have the two Scooby-Doo palettes, the first round of Scooby-Doo that they did. I have the Retro Raggy palette, and let me tell you what, man, the mattes in this palette leave a little bit something to be desired. If I didn't love Scooby-Doo so freaking much, I would probably depot these shimmers, put them in my singles, and call it a day. But I can't. I cannot do that. Like, these shimmers are freaking amazing. And I can't. Like, it's Scooby-Doo, dude. I love these so much. And then same with the Creeps and Crawls palette. Some of these like really deep mattes I struggled with. I had to really tap them and really work to get them to build up. But the shimmers, dude, the shimmers, same thing, like same quality. I did not purchase the second palette that they did. That was like the whole gang. I wanted it, but it felt like I didn't need it. Like I already have my Scooby-Doo nostalgia here, and I would be buying it just for the nostalgia. If I still did a ton of really colorful looks, then that would be one thing, but since I don't, I really don't need it. Don't get me wrong, I love playing with color, but I just don't do it as frequently as I used to. Like every day used to be a colorful day, and now it's like maybe twice a week at most. So I have the Barbie Dream Summer palette, and this is another reason I felt like I didn't need the Scooby-Doo palette, because I feel like this one, it really has a lot of the beautiful, colorful shades that I love. It's got some amazing pinks and purples and blues. And again, the shimmers are freaking amazing. So keeping that. And then the Strawberry Shortcake Berrylicious palette. This one I'm pretty sure was discontinued not quickly, but it didn't stick around for quite as long as I thought it would. I'm not thrilled that this shade is like seeping into the palette here. That never really is attractive to me, but I'm hoping it's just because it was a little overfilled initially. But that's probably one of my favorite pink shades in my whole collection. But that palette I love. I love the pink and green. I love the theme. Strawberry Shortcake was my jam as a kid. I loved playing with those toys. Like I can almost smell it right now. I wish they had put the scent in the palette or a strawberry scent in the palette, but at the same time, these are pretty affordable and I appreciate that. I think they're affordable for what they are. Like for shimmers like this, yeah. They're fairly affordable, and I appreciate that. All right, so out of this group, all right, so I'm keeping 10 palettes, and I am decluttering 4, which I am very proud of myself because I went into this thinking I was only going to declutter 2, and I feel okay right now with my decision to declutter these. I don't think I'll miss them too much. All right, off to get the next batch. All right, let's do some Oden's Eye. I have a couple of their palettes. Shockingly, I don't have them all, even though this is a pretty large stack. Ow! Ow! It's fine. I don't need that knee. All right, I'm going to move these out of the way. Let's do these 3 first. So these 3 were part of a set, and I cannot for the life of me remember what the whole collection was called. And it doesn't say on here. I'm sure it probably said on the sleeves that I cannot be bothered to keep because it's me, and that's just who I am as a person. So this one is the Planet Spirit palette with Betty Jean, or Batty Bean, as many know her. This is the Sea Talk palette with Lauren from Lauren May Beauty. Love watching her channel. And then Amanda with Makeup Just for Fun. I used to watch her a ton, and I found that sometimes I was too tempted to shop for things. So I'm a little more picky about the things that I watch from her. I tend to watch more of like Get Ready With Me or trying new things type, like stuff in that realm versus like reviews of palettes or swatches of palettes, because I'm like, ooh, that looks nice. I need to buy that. And I don't need that in my life. She's very supportive of, you know, like not over consuming and not buying things that you really don't need or don't want, just to buy them. So I don't think she misses my views on some of those videos. So the Planet Spirit palette, I am not 100% certain why I thought I needed this. I bought this set and I really should have just bought these two palettes. I've gone back and forth on this one because I can't create a whole look with this, but I could use it individually. But I feel like I have some of these shades in other Oden's Eye palettes. So I'm going to kind of like set this one back here for me to reference. I'm going to set this back here for me to reference while I look at the other palettes and just see if a couple of those shimmers that I like are in other palettes or something similar, like a similar vibe. So the Sea Talk palette, it has this cute little like neutral quad and then like this little blue area over here. And then it's got like this really pretty like pop of pink and then this pop of like chartreuse, which this is like a satin shade. And I love this. I love this palette. I don't use it enough because I just have too many palettes. But I really do love this. I love the cover artwork. I love that there's a turtle, that Lauren's a pretty mermaid with her pink hair like she used to have. Yeah, I love everything about this one. And then the Flora Story, I love this color story. This shade, Dawn, is like freaking amazing. Like it's a beautiful like transformative topper or to use as like an inner corner. So I don't even think it's really translating on camera, but it's so pretty. I did struggle with some of the mattes to build them up, so maybe not the best matte quality I've seen from Oden's Eye. But that does seem to be a theme I'm seeing with some reviews on their palettes lately. So hopefully they work that out with their whoever does their eyeshadow, and maybe they'll have some better mattes soon. So let's do the Solmani palette. This is the Solmani 2 or Solmane. I'm not really sure the correct way to say it. I feel like this shade is pretty similar to this shade. Like I know I love this shade. I don't know that I would notice a huge difference if this left my collection. I mean, this one has like more pink glitter flip to it. I don't even know if you can tell on camera. And then this one is more like yellow, but I feel like I have other shades like this, like maybe the Kaleidos Prophecy highlighter. And then this shade is similar enough to Majestic. And then I have a purple shimmer in the Oden's Eye formula here. So I think for the most part, I probably can declutter that one and be okay. I like this one. I struggled to get a cohesive look with this a few times, but I found if I go across the rows that I get a much more cohesive look. You can mix and match. I'm just not very good at it. So I generally stick with the rows to get my looks out of this palette and have liked every one I've done in that way. By the way, I'm probably not getting rid of any other Oden's Eye palettes because I love these. I have the Stone and Rock palette, which is, why do I still have this? I don't keep those. So this one I freaking love. Like, I love this one so much. It is a grungy fall dream for me. Yeah, like that's the stuff. I love this one. So far I haven't had issues with any of the shades in the Stone and Rock, but I have not used every shade in this palette. Now, the Jewels and Gems, this was generously sent to me by Chris at the Bedazzled Buddhist. If you don't watch her, what are you doing with your life? She is she's so funny and so relaxing to watch too. Like, I find, like, if I'm stressed out and I want like a relax watch, I'll go see like what Chris has posted lately. And I'll just watch a couple of her videos in a row. And seriously, like, she has such a chill, like, tone and attitude that it takes me like back down a couple of levels. So the Jewels and Gem palette, I really love this color story. I haven't had a ton of issues with the mattes, but I can tell you that I don't feel like these are as good of a quality as I've had from Oden's Eye and some other palettes. But the shimmers I really, really love in this one. And every look I have done with this one, I have loved. Again, this is one that you can like go down the columns, or you can mix and match, of course, but I said columns, go down the rows. On the rows, I find I get a pretty cohesive look, especially this row right here. Although I do tend to reach for this shimmer over the purple in this row. So then I have the Hella palette. And in this palette, you have like your murky kind of greens up here. And then you have like a few pinks and some interesting neutral-ish shades. And this is another one of those like fun, transformative, like really fun inner corner or topper shades. So this was a collab with Angelica Nyqvist, and I really like the cover art on this one. This is one of the few palettes that I regret decluttering the outer sleeve or tossing the outer sleeve because I'm just lazy and that's what I do. I can't be bothered to pull a palette out of a sleeve to use it. Like, that's so much extra work. So I regret that one because it had a little bit different of an artwork on the front. Like, oh, look at this like gunmetal shade. Yes, get on my face. And River is like such an amazing special shade. Like, you would think it's darker than what it is. Funny enough, these aren't too different, but this is more gunmetal. This is more black with sparkle. And this River shade, I freaking love. So, yeah. Keep. I know this is shocking no one. These two palettes were initially released in 2022, and they released and sold out like almost immediately. And then they did one restock and it released and sold out pretty much immediately. So this one is the Christmas Eve palette, and it's freaking gorgeous. Like, they did a great job with this one. I will admit that these Christmas palettes, the color stories kind of challenge me a little bit. It takes me a minute looking at the palette to decide like how I want to go about. Sometimes I have to do some swatching to figure out like what colors I think would go together for the look that I want. But these are like the same amazing shadows. They have different textures. So, you know, some are going to be a little more like straight shimmer. Some are going to be shimmer with some glitter in them or glitter looking particles. But I think they're all pretty amazing in their own right. Although that was a really crappy swatch, but yeah, we're just going to go with it. So this is the Christmas Eve palette, and then this one is the Merry Christmas palette. Again, I don't know why I have the sleeve. It's the same freaking thing. If the sleeve is different, I like to keep it, but for some reason I decluttered the Hella one. I just tossed it like an idiot. So this one I think is also really beautiful. I love like there's a black, like some different shades of like red, almost like brown brick reds. There's some green, but it's not like your typical red and green, like primary colors that you expect at Christmas time. And then you have like some glitz and glam and then like some unexpected fun. Again, this is one that I have to swatch a little bit to figure out what look I'm gonna make, but I end up liking everything I've done with these so far. Then I have the Snow Dream palette, and I've kept the sleeves on these because I'm a little undecided if I want to keep these. I would say these are probably on the chopping block. This is another palette where like I am tempted to deconstruct this and save the shimmers and then just like toss the mattes. I don't know what to do with this color story, quite frankly. And that's okay, but I really like the shimmers in this palette. So I wish I could figure out how to use it to my advantage. But I have saved the sleeve in case I decide I want to sell it, because it is pretty gently used. And then same with the Hey Reindeer palette. This color story kind of stumps me, not as much as the Snow Dream palette, but I just am not, I think, creative enough to figure out how to put these colors together on my face. And again, I freaking love these shimmers. And so I really struggle to get rid of this because I love the shimmers so much. And like, how can I get rid of that? But also, how the heck do I put these shades together? So I don't know. I would say these two are on the chopping block, but I'm not ready to say goodbye yet. I'm not done challenging myself in my creativity. All right, so I'm going to keep 10, and surprisingly, I'm going to declutter 1. I feel like I have enough special shades in these other palettes that I can pass this along to someone that'll truly appreciate it. I have my Fantasy Cosmetica and my Sydney Grace. I feel like I'm missing a Sydney Grace. Let me look. I might have already sold it. I don't remember. I'll have to look. I also pulled in this Terra Moons palette. It took me a second. I pulled in this Terra Moons palette. This is the Cosmic Wonder. This does not look like the palette that came to me. The palette was actually one that was like shimmers and mattes, and is it this one? No. The mattes were primarily these in this palette, and I decided to declutter all of the mattes and this like sequin matte. This is like a matte that has glitter in it. So all of these came from the Terra Moons palette, and the rest of these are Terra Moons singles that my husband gifted me. He actually gifted me this palette too. But again, he does not care if I pass along gifts that he has given to me. I mean, I think he'd be upset if like I sold some jewelry or something, but when it comes to eyeshadow, yeah, I can do whatever I want with my collection, whether he gifted it to me or not. Sometimes I'm way more sentimental than he is. So these shades are not necessarily like what came in the palette, but I liked the artwork and I liked the theme of this, but I didn't like the mattes. So I thought this was a great palette to put my singles in. So technically I decluttered like half of the palette. I'm not counting that in my totals. This goes in my singles collection, but I did want to like mention that because I did have this palette in my last collection and declutter, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to set this to the side. We'll readdress this when we get to the singles. This one is the California Coast palette, and I think it's so pretty, but I have a bunch of Terra Moon singles that are basically the same shades, and I feel like I don't need this palette. Like I have other neutral palettes that I lean into more than this one, and this one just gets lost and forgotten. I have a couple people in mind that I think might like this palette and enjoy it, so I'm going to pass this one along. And then I have the Sydney Grace On the Horizon palette, and I don't remember if I rearranged anything in this. This might still be in like its entirety the way that it came. I can't remember. I love the shade Heart Dog so much. I had it in a single and realized I had a duplicate in this palette, so I'm pretty sure I decluttered that single. But yeah, I love making looks with this palette. This was like the Temptalia collab. There were 3 palettes that if you put them together, it like made a picture, and this was the middle one. This is actually her dog that passed away, I'm pretty sure. Hopefully I'm not telling stories here and remembering wrong. But I think this is a beautifully curated color story, so I'm definitely keeping that. And then these are my Fantasy Cosmetica palettes. I freaking love this brand. So the Druid was the first palette that I got from them. You can see the cover art is like kind of plain. But man, there is nothing plain about these shadows. I love this so freaking much for just a really nice grungy, like fall vibe look. Like, how freaking fun is that shade? And that topper, love them. I don't like swatching mattes. That's why I'm mainly swatching shimmer shades. So definitely keeping the Druid. The Rogue, this is the updated kind of packaging, I'm pretty sure. They updated to like more of a stained glass look, and I think these may be magnetic, but let me check. Yes. Okay, so this palette is magnetic. I honestly have been so freaking tempted to reorder the Druid so I could have it in magnetic form. I'm being good and not doing that yet, but I probably will do it next year because I love this palette so much. So this one, I like the color story. I like the quality. I love the art. I don't know why I'm keeping the sleeve, whatever. This is the Sorcerer palette. I am not a fan, 1, of the color story, and 2, of the mattes in this palette. This palette is not magnetic, to my knowledge. Maybe the pans are. No, they are not. So I honestly think I will probably depot this one, keep the shimmers, and let go of the mattes just because I don't really like them that much. If I decide to do that, I will probably try to film it and hopefully not cuss too much as things go terribly wrong, as they usually do. All right, so keeping 4 and decluttering 1. And we're going to talk about this in my singles. All right, let's talk about Lethal Cosmetics. I probably am not going to declutter anything from these because these are all magnetic palettes, perfectly customizable, and that like goes up like 10 notches in my brain of like quality and value in palettes. So this is a little palette that I made. There's no name to it or anything. I just wanted some black, lime green, and hot pink. I was in a mood and this is what I wanted. I'm probably going to rearrange this at some point, but right now it's great just the way it is. It makes me happy. This is a palette of singles. I bought a palette of just shimmery special shades, and the unicorn is like one of those like, what are they called? Shoot. The dot art. What are these called? Y'all, the brain fog is a struggle. I'll put the name on the thing when I remember. Screen. I'll put the name on the screen. because I'm sure I'll have an epiphany like by the time I go to bed tonight. Yeah, so I'll address these in my singles collection because this is just an all shimmer palette that I typically store with my singles. These are the actual Lethal Cosmetics like curated palettes. So this one is the 1-Up palette. A little controversial. Some people hated it. Some people loved it. I loved it. I have a giant dip in the shade Bonus. Like, I'm going to cry if I ever finish this shade, but that's not looking promising. Let's be real. Do I have a place to, yeah, we'll do it over the black. Sure. Like, these are so fun. I love this palette. I think the shades might be magnetic. Let's check it out. Yes. Okay. So the pans in this are magnetic. So they just pop right out if you hang a magnet over them. So you can rearrange them or you can pull them out and put them in your singles collection. And I love that about Lethal. I truly, truly love the customization and like how many different color stories I can get. So this one is the After Dark palette. I keep these sleeves because the name of the palette and the name of the shades is on the back. And it is not in the palette. The name of the shades is also not on the back of the shades, which sucks. Yeah, so if you want to rearrange your palette, but you want to like remember the shade names, you gotta label them. I think this is a fun like spring summer color story. And again, like the customization ability. Oh my God, Archie. Can you tell I'm getting tired? Then this is the Night Flower palette. I lusted after this one for so freaking long. The artwork, first of all, is so pretty. But then this is so freaking gorgeous. I have this shade in a palette somewhere, like a singles palette. Yes. Okay. I found it. I was working on this shade to use it like a couple of times. I don't remember how many, like maybe 5 was my goal. But it's a beautiful shade. It was very easy for me to do. So I love that if I feel like, okay, I'm not using these shades enough or this palette enough, but maybe I want to pull out like 2 shades and work on those. I can pop them in another palette and just take this palette with other singles in it down to my room, my office, and work on them. And then finally, there is the Velvet Dusk palette. And this one is definitely like more fall and grungy. And if you've been paying any attention so far in this declutter, you know that I love grungy shades. So this is an easy keep for me. So I'm going to count this as 4 keeps, and then I'm actually going to put these back with my singles. They were in the wrong place, so they got mixed in with these palettes, but we'll address these when we get to my singles. So for now, this is just going to be 4 palette keeps. Okay. I am covered in glitter and I freaking love it. I don't care. All right, let's do Kaleidos. I've been on the fence about some of these, and I really struggle with Kaleidos because I really, really love the brand. Or at least I did. I haven't loved anything that they've come out with for a hot second. So I'm hoping that they come out with something that is lovely and interests me soon. So this one is the Flowing Haze quad, and I actually put this in purgatory and feel pretty good about decluttering this one. The shimmer shade is just pretty dark, and I don't find that I like a dark shimmer. I felt like this was a little too samey when I was trying to make looks with this. So Sadly, I am going to declutter this one. Ugh. It's hard. And then I have the Glowing Iris Quad. And this one I like a bit more. I do still find that I struggle to make a full look with this. I'm trying to see if these are, I don't think they're magnetic. I wish they were. Okay. So I really struggle to make a complete look with this sometimes because I'm not very good with monochromatic looks. But if I use this in conjunction with like one staple palette that I usually keep on my like vanity or at my desk in my office, I can make a full and complete look. I bring in like a black or a deep brown. So I think for now I'm going to keep it. I'm not ready to let it go. It's hard because I really like this cover, how that came out better. But yeah, I have other problems to deal with right now. These two don't have names on the back, but I am like 90% sure that this one is the Cold Brew palette. I can't remember the name of the collection, but I do really love this one. This one is a pretty easy, like, throw it on for work palette, and I always get compliments every time I wear this one. Like from random people that don't even give a crap about makeup. And then this one, I'm pretty sure, is the Black Jasmine palette. Again, I can make pretty decent looks with this. And I always get compliments every time I wear this. So keeping those 3 quads. Okay, the Escape Pod. This one I struggle with a lot because I really love these shimmers, but if I really think about it, like, I have beautiful shimmers in the Kaleidos formula, in similar shades, or in the Oden formula, which I also really love. And I've made one complete cohesive look with this, and I liked it, but I don't feel like this is something that, like, I need in my life. So I think I'm gonna pass along the Escape Pod palette. I was keeping it in purgatory to see, like, if I wanted to deconstruct it and save the shimmers, but doing these swatches on all of these other indie palettes, I feel like I don't need to keep this and I can let this one go. Slow progress, guys. Slow progress. And then we have these 4 palettes, which these are also difficult for me because I don't reach into them that much, but I love them. I love the packaging. I love, you know, that these are magnetic. Some of them you really got to work to get out. I may need a little, there we go. Yeah, so these are magnetic. I have toyed around with keeping my favorite mattes and shimmers and maybe like whittling this down to like 2 palettes of my favorite packaging, like maybe these 2. So this palette, I think I love all the shades in this one. I feel like I could get rid of one of these browns because, like, I don't need 2 almost exactly the same browns. All the rest of the shades I love. Okay, so I'm saying this one, but this is the Kaleidos Futurism 6 Lunar Lavender. They've discontinued these, the few that they have left that aren't sold out. I think they're still selling. I'm not sure. It's been a minute since I've been to the Kaleidos website. And then this one is the Futurism 3 Astro Pink. So these 2 are my favorite. And then we have these 2. This one is the Futurism 7 Sashimi City. And like, I want to love this one. I love the shimmers, but I find some of these mattes are like very repetitive. So I feel like I could pick out the shimmers, maybe save one of the mattes, and I would be happy with this palette. And then this one is the Futurism 5 Electro Turquoise, which I lovingly call the Taco Bell palette. I cannot incorporate this turquoise with this orange to save my life. Like, it just, this does not happen on my face. So I feel like if I took out this orange and maybe threw in another neutral brown, this may be a little bit more workable of a palette for me. So I have considered maybe deconstructing this one, popping out the shades that I really don't care for in these, and then stealing from this palette to make these complete. So I think that's probably what I'll end up doing. So I'm not going to count this as one declutter yet, but once I play around with these, I think it'll be one declutter. And I may film it when I do it, just to kind of like a chill like vibe with music playing while I like switch around shades and stuff and figure it out. No promises though. All right, so shockingly, I am keeping 7, maybe eventually someday 6, and decluttering 2, maybe eventually someday 3, which is progress for me because I never thought in my entire life I would declutter a Kaleidos. Every time I saw someone do it on a declutter video, I was like, clutching my pearls. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I always have a great time hanging out with you guys, and love it when you comment below any mistakes you think I made, you know, things I got rid of that I shouldn't have, things that I kept that I probably should get rid of already. So I hope you enjoyed. If you like this video, I do hope you'll give me a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, if you could hit that subscribe button for me. And other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are. Bye.